amazing twist, girl rescues lost. Boy at festival discovers his billionaire mother hours later. Emma was knee-deep in her thoughts, sitting cross-legged on the grass of the park, a few yards away from the animal adoption booth she'd been organizing for weeks. The sun glistened through the leaves, casting playful shadows that danced across her notebook. She was sketching out plans for her veterinary school applications when a frantic voice broke through her concentration. "Have you seen my mom?" a little boy shouted, tears streaming down his cheeks. His wide blue eyes darted between the towering trees. Without even thinking, Emma jumped to her feet. The sight of him tugged at something deep within her. She sensed his fear. It mirrored what she often felt amidst her own struggles. "No, but I can help," she declared, determination flooding her voice as she bent down to his level. As they wandered through the park, Jack shared snippets of his life, his soft-spoken words barely masking the loneliness he felt. "My mom's really busy with work," he said, frowning. "Sometimes I wish I could just be normal." Emma swallowed hard. Her world was defined by the simple joys of community, while Jack was the son of a tech mogul, a name she had read in magazines glimmering with success. The contrast made her skin crawl. The weight of Jack's confession layered over her, stirring a mix of emotions. Was she simply lucky to have a support system, or was it more than that? As they turned a corner, the boy's mother came into view, and Emma's heart sank like a stone. The argument that unfolded between them was agonizing to witness. She could see the disinterest etched across the woman's face, as if her son were just another responsibility on an overly full plate. Emma felt a surge of protectiveness towards Jack, an impulse she had never fully acknowledged. She had seen the shadows cast by privilege in her town, those who wielded it often forgetting the very humans beneath them. "You should listen to him," she shouted, surprising herself. Jack turned to her, his eyes wide with gratitude and surprise. Suddenly, an invisible weight pressed against her chest as she realized the complexities beneath Jack's circumstances. What if his mother's corporate empire was crumbling? What if the programs supporting her community were at risk as well? The thought squeezed her heart, awakening a sense of urgency she had never felt before. "Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As their eyes locked for a moment, a fracture appeared in the relationship Jack had with his mother, the tensions of wealth and expectation swirling. Emma felt a mix of confusion and resolve. She picked up on the hidden truths that connected their families. She sensed a letter buried under roots of attitude and pride that could easily connect their pasts. That letter twisted her stomach into knots as she realized they were tied in more ways than one. "Can I protect him?" she pondered, feeling the brutal struggle of her choices intensifying. "What can I do against the tides of wealth?" Her mind raced with fears. Would stepping into Jack's life pull her away from her own dreams? One truth became evident. This was no longer just about helping a lost boy. Emma was standing at a precipice between ambition and a newfound understanding of loyalty, with the winds of their future fiercely whipping around her. Uncertainty loomed heavy over their fates, forging a bond deeper than either of them could see as they approached the unknown paths, caught in their escalating dilemma. Emma couldn't shake the rush of emotions as she walked away from the confrontation between Jack and his mother. The sun dipped lower in the sky, its fading light sharpening the roiling thoughts in her mind. She had been thrust into a reality far removed from her own, a world of privilege tangled with deep isolation. Each step felt heavy as she replayed Jack's vulnerable admissions. "Sometimes I wish I could just be normal." His simple statement echoed painfully. She returned to her organizational booth, though the animals, volunteers, and the vibrant crowd around her felt surreal. The disparity between her world and Jack's tugged relentlessly at her consciousness. The animals, their innocent joy and unbridled energy, stood in striking contrast to the emotional war she felt deep within. Was it fair to revel in her ambitions when children like Jack encountered their harsh realities? With her notebook still open, Emma's hand trembled as she wrote, "Can I make a difference?" Each stroke of the pen felt loaded with significance. She questioned her motivations. Did she want to push forward for herself, for the lofty goals she had set, or was there a deeper calling waiting to be explored? The incident replayed in her mind. The look on Jack's face when she intervened had hung in the air between them, a fragile thread that seemed ready to snap. Emma could picture it, how Jack's expression had shifted from despair to hope. That small glimmer ignited something within her, a realization that resonated louder than her self-doubt. She might have stumbled upon an opportunity to uplift, not just herself, but others too. While her focus had historically been fixated on her veterinary ambitions, those aspirations now mingled with imaginations of advocacy. Perhaps her future didn't only involve healing animals. It could fuse with supporting children like Jack, who wielded courage amidst challenges she could only begin to understand. She made her way back to the adoption booth, a renewed purpose surging through her veins. This was a reflective moment, a test of her willingness to change. What could she do beyond just applying to veterinary school? As she mulled over this question, she felt an urgency to connect the dots between her passions and the narratives that defined people like Jack. After the event, she sat down at her desk, spirits high but thoughts tumultuous. Researching underfunded programs for children brought her face to face with a harsh reality. Numerous organizations were struggling to remain operational. Her heart raced with a mix of dread and resolve. These were the steps she could take to assist, not only Jack, but countless other children facing the isolation like him. With each click, each bit of information absorbed, Emma felt her confidence swell into a force larger than herself. She felt a commitment form to help change lives, to make her voice a weapon against apathy. But even as she planned, nagging concerns fought for dominance. What if she got too close to Jack's world? What if the privilege of his existence overshadowed her intent to help? Would wealth only complicate her dream of making a difference, pushing her ambitions to the sidelines? As she lay in bed that night, Emma realized she stood at a crossroads. The decisions brewing in her mind tested everything she thought she knew about herself. By helping Jack, could she truly redefine what it meant to succeed? Or would it reveal her vulnerability, a chink in her armor that she had built against uncertainty? Emma settled on one conclusion: she would seek answers. A message to Jack's mother, inquiring about volunteering, would be her first step. The thought sent shivers down her spine, a wave of both fear and excitement. Tomorrow she would act. Tomorrow she would confront the unforeseen possibilities. But little did she know, the complexities of Jack's life were only beginning to unravel. As she drifted to sleep, she knew the stakes had only risen. The moment of first contact with Jack's world would arrive, and she could only hope she was ready for what lay ahead. Emma woke with a start, sunlight streaming through her window, illuminating the fervor of her thoughts. Today was the day she had decided to reach out, the day to step into Jack's world and confront her fears and aspirations head-on. The uncertainty that had simmered in her mind now transformed into a bubbling expectancy, fueling her determination. Sipping her morning coffee, she reviewed the message she had drafted to Jack's mother. Would it sound too eager, too desperate? Deep down, Emma knew it represented more than mere words. It was a bridge built toward a connection that could ripple into life-changing experiences for both her and Jack. With a few deep breaths, she pressed send. The act held weight beyond its digital transmission. It was a commitment to engage with a reality she had previously only glimpsed. As the minutes turned into hours, her anticipation morphed into a strange cocktail of eagerness and anxiety. Would they respond? What if her message was unwanted? Suddenly, the shrill notification of her phone broke the silence. Heart racing, she picked it up, squinting at the screen. It was a reply. "Thank you for your interest. I'd love to discuss ways you can help. When can you meet?" The simplicity of the response contrasted sharply with the surge of possibilities that flooded Emma's mind. Help. The word echoed as she gazed out the window, thinking about the children she had read about, the stories of isolation and of heroes overlooked. Torn between her veterinary aspirations and her new desire for advocacy, she recognized that a path might exist where both could coexist. Afternoon sunlight cast gentle shadows as she prepared for her meeting. Emma chose her outfit carefully, reflecting both professionalism and her genuine intentions. This wasn't just about impressing Jack's mother. It was about carving a space for herself in a world that seemed so disconnected from her own. As she arrived at the designated cafe, her pulse quickened. She could already visualize how this interaction could unfold. Would she be taken seriously? Would Jack's mother see her as a mere enthusiast, or as someone genuinely interested in making a difference? The cafe buzzed with the hum of casual conversations, and as Emma waited, she reminded herself that she had something valuable to offer. Her passion for animals could translate into imaginative outreach for children, creating lessons around compassion, responsibility, and even healing through the bond with pets. With every positive thought, her confidence grew, but there remained a lump of dread lurking within. What if Jack's mother decided her motives were incompatible with their world? The click of high heels approached, and Emma turned to see a poised woman walk in. Jack's mother effortlessly commanded the room, exuding a blend of warmth and authority. Their eyes connected, and Emma felt a strange mix of excitement and trepidation. After brief introductions filled with pleasantries, the conversation shifted. "Tell me why you're interested in volunteering," Jack's mother prompted, eyes keen and searching. Emma took a deep breath, articulating her thoughts with the clarity she had practiced. "I've spent time working with animals, and I believe there's a unique opportunity here, a chance to create a program that connects children like Jack with animals, fostering healing and understanding." As she spoke, she noticed Jack's mother nodding thoughtfully, her gaze softening, but a flicker of skepticism remained. Emma's heart sank slightly, but she pressed on, using her research into programs she admired and suggesting the fundamentals needed for success. "I know there are challenges, and I'm ready to face them. It's not about burdening others, it's about collective growth. I want to help." Jack's mother leaned back, crossing her arms, her expression contemplative. Emma awaited a response, time ticking slowly in the space between them. "Your heart seems in the right place," she finally said. "But you must understand, this isn't just about charity. It's about connecting worlds that are very different. Are you ready for that?" The question ignited a tempest within Emma. Was she ready to immerse herself into a life so unlike her own? The weight of that doubt contrasted sharply against the flame of her aspirations. Could she thrive in this new role, truly embody the change she sought to promote? Emma nodded slowly, her resolve crystallizing. "I won't back down." But as she left the cafe, the mixture of exhilaration and uncertainty swirled within her. She felt she was on the brink of something transformative. Yet the question loomed. What unseen obstacles lay ahead in her journey to build connections between her world and Jack's? Emma sat in her car, hands gripping the steering wheel, as uncertainty and excitement coalesced within her. The cafe's echoes of Jack's mother's voice replayed in her mind, echoing the question she had posed. Was she truly ready? The air seemed thicker, laden with possibility, yet tinged with the anxiety of potential rejection or missteps. The next few days unfolded in a whirl without a clear direction. Emma pored over her veterinary studies, but her thoughts drifted to Jack and the children whose spirits she longed to lift. She began outlining ideas for a pet therapy program in a diary, each concept more inspiring than the last, but also increasingly demanding. How would she transform theories into actionable plans? Each evening, she pulled out her notebook, filling page after page with details. She sketched paths that might lead her to build the connections she envisioned, not only to help Jack, but to reach so many others like him. But the more she developed her ideas, the more she sensed the knowledge gap that loomed before her. She had experience with animals, but lacked the formal training in outreach and education that Jack's mother, and perhaps the kids, might require. That realization stung. Reprieve came unexpectedly. Emma received another message from Jack's mother, suggesting a follow-up meeting. Anticipation surged through her. It was an opportunity to clarify her ideas and address some of the doubts she sensed during their last exchange. The plans she had crafted could come to life in this discussion. On the day of the meeting, Emma arrived with her shoulders squared and her heart racing. The cafe was crowded, yet the familiarity of the space now felt more comforting. Jack's mother greeted her warmly, a smile playing on her lips as she motioned to their table. "Let's talk about your ideas," she said after settling down, her fingers interlaced on the table. "I'm curious how you see this really working." Emma leaned forward, eager to convey her vision. "I think we can create a curriculum that teaches empathy through caring for animals. The children would learn responsibility. They'd have a companion to help them with emotional growth. It's more than just fun. It's therapeutic." As she spoke, she watched Jack's mother process the information, but hesitation flickered across her eyes again. "And what about the logistics? Have you thought about the details? Funding, collaboration with schools. There's a lot at stake." The question hit Emma squarely. I haven't worked through those specifics yet, but I'm ready to learn. I just need a way in." Jack's mother held her gaze, and Emma felt vulnerability wash over her. Would she see past her ideals into the inexperience that lingered beneath? "You have potential, Emma. You're passionate, but passion won't be enough. You need a plan. A framework. You know what I've seen? Many people want to help but don't understand how to implement change. That's where you can fall into the trap of good intentions without results." Emma absorbed the advice, feeling the weight of it settle inside. Was she capable of turning her passion into tangible action, or was she merely standing at the edge, afraid to jump? She took a moment, considering the vastness of the journey before her. "I'll draft that plan. I'll outline funding ideas and target schools. I will prepare for every question. This is what I want. I'll prove that I can do this." Jack's mother nodded, a hint of approval flickering in her gaze. "Show me that you're prepared. Then we can discuss making introductions to potential partners. There's quite a bit of influence out there, but they'll want to see your dedication." As the conversation continued, Emma felt her confidence solidifying alongside her resolve. But alongside the excitement of planning came the daunting reality of execution. She was standing in a world where obstacles overshadowed hope, and she firmly believed she could bridge that chasm. As she left the cafe, a new challenge loomed, the need to gain the necessary knowledge to bring her ideas to fruition. What did advocacy truly require? Researching, planning, forging connections all seemed imperative. And in that moment, while the thrill of possibilities unfurled, a voice within persisted. What if she failed to embody the change she envisioned? The stakes heightened as she pondered her next move, from crafting a robust plan to illuminating the world she sought to connect with. What lay beyond was uncharted territory. Emma took a deep breath, determination surging as she approached her car. The journey had begun, but it was far from over. She felt the fire in her resolve ignite once more. What resources would she uncover, and how far was she willing to go to forge her path? Emma was about to find out, but a distant shadow loomed, ready to challenge her aspirations head-on. With resolve settled in her chest, Emma returned home, her mind swirling with the fresh insights from her meeting. The weight of the task ahead settled heavily on her shoulders, yet she recognized it as a necessary burden. She opened her notebook, the ink of her aspirations waiting to be shaped into reality. Her first step had to be research. Emma immersed herself in books and articles about pet therapy programs and non-profit management. She spent hours documenting successful initiatives, dissecting their frameworks, fundraising strategies, and collaboration outlines. Each piece of information felt like scaffolding fitting together, supporting her burgeoning vision. However, the more she learned, the more the complexities unfolded. The need for partnerships, the legalities of working with vulnerable populations, the spotlight of reality pierced through the excitement. Emma wrestled with frustration when she uncovered the bureaucracy often involved in non-profit work. Would potential partners deem her too inexperienced? Could she wrangle the logistics despite her uncertainty? Late nights became her companion, the soft glow of her laptop illuminating her determination. On the surface, it may have seemed simple, but she was battling her internal skeptic. An incessant question echoed, "What if I mess this up? What if my naivety leads to failure?" She fought against the creeping doubt, pushing it aside with each stride made forward. Near the end of the week, an unexpected message from Jack's mother lit a spark of renewed energy. She invited Emma to join a meeting with local community leaders discussing educational outreach, the opportunity to network insinuating itself tantalizingly within her grasp. The thrill of direct exposure to those who could potentially champion her vision reinvigorated her spirit, yet anxiety gnawed at her. What would she say? Would she be able to convey the depth of her ambitions convincingly? Emma contemplated this as she prepared for the meeting, devising a concise yet powerful way to articulate her dreams. She rehearsed her speech in front of her bedroom mirror, channeling her passion for animals, children, and healing into each word. On the day of the meeting, Emma's stomach fluttered with nerves. She arrived early, surveying the polished conference room filled with people deep in conversation. They were accomplished, confident, everything she feared she might not be. Her imposter syndrome surged, prompting the instinct to retreat. Yet she steadied herself, inhaling deeply, reminding herself of the dreams that were igniting her journey. As introductions began, Emma prepared to share her ideas. However, as she stood just outside the circle, she felt ill-equipped. The high-profile individuals around her exchanged pleasantries and significant insights about community development that felt worlds apart from her dreams about animals and children. When her turn came, her voice wavered for a moment, but as she spoke about the healing power of animals, a palpable transformation enveloped her. She painted vivid pictures of children interacting with therapy pets, struggling to convey a reality she felt deep in her core. The atmosphere shifted as she spoke. The listeners' faces softened, captivated. After the meeting concluded, she fielded questions and engaged further. But alongside the exhilaration came an awareness. The questions they posed forced her to confront the maturity of her goals. One gentleman, a seasoned educator, interrogated her approach to sustainability. How can you ensure that your program continues to evolve and thrive? Emma hesitated as doubt washed over her. I'm still learning about that aspect, she admitted, her throat dry. The truth hung heavy in the air. She lacked the experience to navigate these waters. Yet there was this flicker of excitement in the challenge. She thanked the man for his candor, promising herself to integrate that feedback into her planning. As she left the meeting, each step felt heavier. She had opened her heart and mind to the world of advocacy, but serious questions loomed. Was she genuinely prepared to handle the complexities of what she had set out to accomplish? Two voices wrestled within her, one optimistic and yearning for transformation, the other critical, wary of her lack of expertise. Yet as she sat in her car, a burning realization surfaced. This journey would test not only her commitment and resilience, but down to her core beliefs about change. The challenges held promise for growth, yet the struggles seemed magnified. With her mind racing, an urgent thought crystallized. She needed a mentor, someone who had traversed the hurdles ahead of her. But where would she find that person? The unknown stretched ahead, but she was beginning to realize she needed to seek guidance where she could. Emma took a deep breath, her heart thudding in her chest. The next leg of this journey awaited her, filled with the uncertainty of discovery. What lessons would guide her through this crucial transition, and would reaching out for help lead to the support she truly needed? The stakes were higher than ever, and Emma understood that finding a mentor could very well decide the fate of her dream. Emma spent the weekend recovering from the whirlwind of the meeting. The excitement of sharing her vision mingled with the weight of the unknown, haunting her thoughts like a persistent echo. Each time she ventured into the realm of her dreams, the question reigned supreme. Who could function as her mentor in this uncharted territory? With renewed determination, she dove into her search. She mined LinkedIn, tracing potential connections, filtering through those who instilled a sense of possibility. The idea of reaching out terrified her. Who was she to approach accomplished professionals? Yet the ember of her ambition begot her courage, pushing her to send connection requests with a soft heartbeat of hope. As days unfolded, the reality of deferring action crept in. Too many unanswered invitations left Emma in a quagmire of introspection and hesitation. One day, after a late evening filled with introspection, she stumbled upon a local university's website. A professor specialized in non-profit leadership and animal-assisted therapy caught her eye. The timing felt serendipitous. With her heart pounding, Emma composed an email. The tone was formal yet earnest, expressing her admiration for his work and her desire to learn. She would help him in any way possible, all the while absorbing whatever knowledge he imparted. After hitting send, a wave of dread coiled tightly in her stomach. What if he didn't reply? What if she had misread the urgency of her message? Days passed in an agonizing stillness. Each morning began with the hope of a response, only to be dampened by the emptiness of her inbox. But she channeled that frustration into action. She started drafting a project outline, using the feedback from the meeting as a guide. Clarity emerged as she organized her thoughts. Steps crystallized. Define goals, identify key partnerships, explore fundraising strategies. Then the email she'd been waiting for arrived, a response from the professor. As she read, her heart raced. He agreed to meet up for coffee and discuss her project. His generosity breathed new life into her ambitions, but excitement was met with new waves of nervousness. What if he asked tough questions she could not answer? What if she fell apart in front of him? The day of their meeting dawned, and Emma approached the coffee shop with determination. The aroma of roasted beans filled the air, influencing her resolve. She could sense that this conversation could redefine her trajectory. It was her opportunity to indulge her aspirations without fear of rejection. Professor Larkin, a woman in her 40s with warm, engaging eyes, welcomed her. The conversation flowed naturally, punctuated by laughter and genuine curiosity. Emma articulated her vision with newfound fervor, each word imbued with her passion. When discussions turned to sustainability, she felt the weight of his probing questions, but responded openly about the work ahead. "I want my program to adapt continuously," she declared, "but I'm still figuring out how to construct that framework." Learning is the path to growth, and it often starts with tough questions, he replied, nodding thoughtfully. Emma marveled at how he transformed complex topics into accessible dialogues. Their conversation shifted towards potential pitfalls she hadn't yet articulated. The realities of funding, the importance of solidifying a dedicated team. Find your strengths and surround yourself with those who complement them, he advised. Each point resonated, planting seeds of new ideas within her framework. Burning questions sparked in her mind as she began to see not only the need for partners, but the type of individuals who would amplify her voice. As they wrapped up, Professor Larkin invited her to attend an upcoming seminar where key players in animal-assisted therapy would gather. It's a golden opportunity to network, she encouraged. You might find potential partners or even mentors there. Emma left that meeting charged, her heart echoing with possibilities, realizing she could engage with those whose expertise could bolster her vision, anchored her resolve. She understood now that this journey was not only about her singular ambitions, but weaving her aspirations into a larger tapestry. As the sun dipped low in the sky, thoughts of the seminar settled in her mind. What relationships would emerge from that event? Consequently, a more acute realization struck her. She would need to refine her pitch further, given the caliber of attendees she expected to meet. The stakes had risen, yet so had her clarity of purpose. Emma felt a powerful shift within her. She was no longer merely an aspirant, but an emerging advocate, ready to carve her niche. Was she prepared to risk even deeper vulnerability by stepping into a space filled with experts? And what awaited her there might alter the course of her journey in remarkable, unforeseen ways. As the days raced toward the seminar, the anticipation surged within Emma. She meticulously reviewed her project outline, ambitions crystallizing with every revision. The stakes felt higher, pushing her to carve out a narrative that would resonate with her audience. Hours turned into frantic late nights as she meticulously crafted her pitch, pacing her small apartment while rehearsing in front of the mirror, her inner critic constantly whispering doubts. "Who are you to even dream this big?" it sneered. Yet she clung to Professor Larkin's words like a lifeline. Surrounding herself with competent allies would be key. Emma envisioned her network expanding, the wealth of knowledge she could access through meaningful connections. But the more she prepared, the more questions loomed. Would her vision be taken seriously? Would they even recognize her potential? Time sped past, and before she knew it, the night before the seminar arrived. She tried to sleep, but her mind spiraled with fears both rational and absurd. Would anyone value her as a professional? What if she stumbled over her words or forgot crucial points? Images of her potential peers, seasoned veterans in her field, filled her head, amplifying her insecurity. Emma abandoned sleep, opting instead to pen emotional cues for herself, notes of reassurance, affirmations that urged confidence to bloom in the face of uncertainty. "I belong here. My passion is real. I can take this to the next level." Awash in self-doubt, she also experienced a flicker of determination. This seminar was not merely an event, it was her conduit to the future. Morning arrived cloaked in a heavy humidity, the air thick with unspoken tension. Clad in a blazer meant to project professionalism, she inhaled deeply, soaking in the essence of her endeavor. Stepping into the seminar hall, she felt both exhilaration and trepidation. The room bustled, a flux of conversation buzzing around her. Emma's heart raced as she scanned the crowd, searching for familiar faces or mentors. Each interaction she witnessed seemed orchestrated with ease, the attendees drawing upon years of established social currency, while she felt like an outsider. It was there, amidst the swarm of experts, that she spotted a woman she had previously researched, Dr. Vera Mills. A leading figure in animal-assisted therapy, Dr. Mills was both revered and intimidating. A collision of admiration and fear gripped Emma. Could she muster the courage to seize this opportunity? With each heartbeat echoing in her ears, Emma stepped closer to the cluster surrounding Dr. Mills. The conversation was lively, filled with insights and anecdotes. As the circle expanded, the initial large group began to wane. But Emma lingered, her purpose sharpening. Then, in an impulsive moment, Emma cleared her throat, someone nudging her forward. "Dr. Mills," she said, her voice quavering slightly, "I'm Emma Hawthorne. I've been developing a project focused on sustainability in animal-assisted therapy." Dr. Mills turned, her focus sharpening. "Sustainability is crucial. What's your approach?" In that moment, Emma unleashed her thoughts. Ideas flowed, the nerves of anticipation giving way to excitement as she engaged in an animated dialogue about her vision, fully embodying the passion she had previously felt chest deep. But just as Emma felt a connection solidifying, an unexpected challenge ensued. A seasoned professional, evidently well-connected and self-assured, interrupted her pitch with sharp critique, peppering her with questions that struck deep. "Where is your funding coming from? Have you considered feasibility?" Emma faltered, her composed facade shattering as self-doubt scuttled back in. What had she thought? Did she even have the right answers? But Professor Larkin's voice echoed in her mind again, urging her to think solution first. Deep breaths steadied her. She remembered the framework she had painstakingly constructed. Perhaps this critical questioning was an opportunity instead of a barrier. Gathering her strength, she replied, "I'm actively reaching out for partnerships, as I believe collaboration elevates our impact. Also, sustainable funding strategies are being researched as we speak." Each word gained momentum, restoring her confidence. As the conversation expanded and attendees began taking interest, Emma suddenly felt the weight of the room shift. Maybe this was not just a moment of vulnerability, but a powerful platform to launch her vision. Adrenaline surged through her. And then, amid the burgeoning conversation and electric energy, she noticed Dr. Mills leaning closer. The seasoned professional retreating slightly, revealing a flicker of interest from the audience. She turned to Emma, a smile illuminating her face that suggested she was intrigued. Was this the breakthrough Emma had longed for? The seminar buzzed with possibilities, leaving her yearning for more as the dialogue began to shift again. What could this turn of events lead to, and how profoundly could it transform her trajectory? Amidst a whirlwind of professional stakes, Emma felt a new urgency unspooling. This was her moment, and the next conversation could unlock even greater doors. The evening wrapped around Emma like a warm cloak as the seminar drew to a close. Conversations swirled, laughter punctuating the air. But Emma stood slightly apart, reveling in the adrenaline still coursing through her veins. Dr. Mills had engaged with her more than she had anticipated. The curiosity in the respected figure's gaze had a profound effect. It was a tangible affirmation that her ideas had merit. But as these thoughts mingled with the whispers of self-doubt, Emma felt the familiar wave of uncertainty wash over her. What if this fleeting attention was merely a momentary lapse in critical judgment? Dr. Mills would soon forget her name amidst the flood of faces and projects, wouldn't she? Wasn't she just another fledgling thinker amidst a sea of well-established careers? Taking a breath, Emma forced herself to refocus. The seminar had opened a door. She needed to capitalize on these connections while they were fresh. Emma quickly scanned the room for familiar faces and found herself gravitating toward a cluster of attendees still engaged in discussion. They appeared relaxed, unburdened by the day's formalities. One woman with curly hair caught Emma's attention. Sarah, she recalled from the earlier introductions, an innovative researcher known for her groundbreaking work in animal-assisted therapy. Mustering her courage, Emma approached the group. "Sarah," Emma said, injecting enthusiasm into her voice, "could I join you?" Of course. We were just discussing the potential of integrating tech into therapy practices, Sarah replied, her eyes brightening. As they conversed, Emma seized the opportunity to articulate her vision again. It felt refreshing to revisit her project without the pressure of being scrutinized. The lively exchange sparked new ideas, and soon Emma found herself sharing the latest trends in sustainability practices she had uncovered during her research. She reveled in the exuberance that came from collaborating with like-minded individuals, feeling lighter with every word. Just then, she felt a sharp tug at her memory. Her earlier encounter with that critical professional, the one who had questioned her funding sources. She hadn't been prepared for the interruptions, their condescension almost stifling her creative spirit. Now, with Sarah and the group engaged, Emma recalled a thought she had buried under layers of self-doubt. For every critic, there existed a counterpoint. There were those who recognized the value of fresh perspectives. Wasn't this what she was aiming for? "What inspires you the most about sustainability in therapy?" Sarah asked, a genuine curiosity evident in her tone. Emma paused as the question resonated. It presented not only a chance to articulate her passion, but also to redefine her narrative. Instead of viewing herself through the lens established by seasoned professionals or naysayers, she could choose to define her success by the very passion that had driven her project's inception. "I believe deeply in the interconnectedness of nature and healing," she replied, her voice gaining strength. "I want to show that when we care for the environment, we enhance our ability to care for others. It's like a cycle of compassion." The group leaned in, captivated. They began sharing their experiences and thoughts, and Emma could feel the synergy building, a network of sharing and learning. Each exchange fueled her belief that progress was achievable when you engaged with a community that valued fresh ideas. As the discussions turned to practical steps and new collaborations, a curious thought, whispering in the back of her mind, began to solidify. She was not merely looking to create a project, she was in the limelight of reshaping narratives around animal-assisted therapy altogether. But amidst this excitement, a nagging question gnawed at her awareness. Was she genuinely ready to lead such a transformative change? This was no longer just about her project. This was about embodying the very essence of the leadership she sought to form within the community. Suddenly, a voice interrupted her thoughts. It was Professor Larkin, weaving through the crowd toward her, a knowing smile on his face. "Emma," he said, a glimmer in his eye, "I found someone who is very interested in what you're working on. Dr. Mills would like to discuss potential collaboration." The moment hung suspended, promising a breakthrough, yet undefined, brimming with potential and laden with unsung fears. Could this really blossom into her next opportunity? Emma's heart raced anew, a mixture of excitement and anxiety tightening around her chest. It was clear the stakes had just risen, and she was standing at the edge of an unforeseen journey. And as Professor Larkin gestured for her to follow, Emma caught her breath, the unthinkable blooming in her heart. This was more than a mere project. This was the beginning of her legacy. What awaited her in this next conversation? Emma followed Professor Larkin through the lively crowd, her mind racing with possibilities. The soft buzz of voices around her faded into background noise as she navigated the sea of faces, their expressions animated and engaged. Yet she felt a profound stillness within, a deepening determination mixed with anticipation. As they approached Dr. Mills, Emma felt a flicker of anxiety threatening to dim her confidence. She chastised herself internally, questioning if she deserved this moment. Dr. Mills had a reputation steeped in brilliance and accomplishment. What could she possibly say that would make a lasting impression? Yet as they neared, a thought crystallized. She wasn't here to please, she was here to share. "Dr. Mills, I hope I'm not interrupting," Professor Larkin said, his tone warm and inviting. "Not at all," Dr. Mills replied, her gaze shifting to Emma, prompting her to step forward. "Emma," she began, projecting her voice with clarity, "I've been exploring how sustainability principles can be integrated into animal-assisted therapy. It's a vision I'm deeply passionate about." The corners of Dr. Mills' mouth lifted slightly, encouraging Emma to continue. "I believe that reconnecting individuals with nature can enhance both therapeutic processes and personal healing," Emma continued, her voice growing steadier. "It creates an environment of empathy not just towards animals, but also ourselves and the earth." "Interesting," Dr. Mills replied, her interest palpable. "What specific methods are you considering? How do you envision implementation?" Emma felt a surge of adrenaline. Her heart raced, not from fear, but from the exhilaration of being engaged in a meaningful dialogue. This was not merely a presentation, it was a conversation ripe with innovation. "I've been researching programs that successfully leverage outdoor spaces for therapy, combining ecological engagement with traditional treatment methods. I'm also exploring partnerships with local ecotherapy initiatives to analyze their methodologies." Emma explained, her brain firing off connections. "There's so much we can learn if we're open to a more holistic approach." The intensity of Dr. Mills' gaze remained fixed on Emma as she spoke, carefully absorbing each point. Emma sensed the weight of the moment. This was her chance to showcase her ideas and, more importantly, her potential as a professional. "What you're suggesting is ambitious. Have you considered the challenges involved in garnering support and funding?" Dr. Mills inquired. That question triggered a quick evaluation of Emma's readiness. Every innovation faced hurdles, and her earlier fears swiftly resurfaced, threatening to diminish the momentum she had built. Yet she stood firm. "Yes, I've begun mapping out potential funding sources and collaboration avenues," Emma replied, her tone unwavering. "I understand it will require a concerted effort to shift paradigms, but I believe that is exactly what we need. This is about more than just a project. It's a movement towards redefining therapeutic practice. Leadership requires not just vision, but resilience," Dr. Mills commented, her voice contemplative. "Are you prepared for the long road ahead? There will be skeptics and obstacles in your path." The truth washed over Emma. Yes, she felt uncertain, yet wasn't that what every aspiring leader faced? Wasn't it through confronting these fears that she could grow? In that moment, a burgeoning realization took root within her. This wasn't merely an exploration. It was a test of her commitment to her beliefs, her desire to become a catalyst for change. "I am prepared," Emma asserted, a new fire igniting within her. "I refuse to be intimidated by the challenges ahead. If anything, they motivate me to see this vision realized." A silence followed her declaration. It felt both liberating and nerve-wracking, charged with potential and unspoken expectations. Dr. Mills broke the tension with a nod, a flicker of respect shimmering in her eyes. "Good to hear," she said. "We need more individuals who are willing to push boundaries. Let's explore this idea further. I'd like to see a proposal outlining your framework. There may be possibilities to collaborate depending on your approach." Emma felt a rush of triumph wash over her, a burst of energy reflecting her internal shift. This was not about validation, it was about a shift in self-concept and purpose. She was stepping into her role not just as a participant, but as a leader ready to make waves in her field. As Dr. Mills walked away with Professor Larkin, Emma found herself smiling, a deep sense of purpose seeping into her core. Yet just as she began to bask in her success, a shadow of doubt returned, taunting her. Was she truly equipped to rise to the expectations now set before her? In that moment of distraction, she remembered her earlier fears, but also held tightly to the passionate vision that had fueled her for so long. Reflecting on the conversation, a resolute thought crystallized. She must confront those doubts directly or allow them to dictate her trajectory. With newfound resolve, she realized this was merely the beginning of a deeper journey, one filled with learning and growth, but also fraught with challenges that would test her commitment to her vision. And as she stood in the afterglow of the experience, the question loomed large in her mind. What would it truly take to overcome her fears and establish her vision in a world that often placed greater value on established norms? The answer awaited, just beyond the horizon of her expanding ambitions. Emma stood atop the new veterinary clinic's roof, the sunlight glinting off the sleek glass panes that surrounded her. The building represented not just a vision brought to life, but a culmination of every step she had taken since her first encounter with Jack. Looking out over the thriving community below, she could hardly grasp how far she had come from that defining moment in the park. Months of hard work had transformed into meaningful action. After her meetings with Dr. Mills and Professor Larkin, Emma had crafted a comprehensive proposal integrating sustainability into animal-assisted therapy. She established connections with various local groups, learning from their insights and adapting her vision into a program that was innovative yet grounded. The clinic, now bustling with activity, exemplified that vision. It wasn't just a place for veterinary care, but a space where children like Jack could learn valuable life skills through interactions with animals. The clinic had officially opened its doors just a week ago, and the response had been overwhelming. Parents, educators, and children flocked to enroll in workshops that combined animal care with environmental education. Emma felt a profound sense of fulfillment as she watched the excitement in the children's faces. They were learning empathy, responsibility, and how to bond with the creatures entrusted to their care. These results were tangible proof of her efforts, manifesting into something powerful and transformative. Previously, skeptical voices had begun to hush. Emma had proven her commitment by welcoming critical feedback, diligently incorporating suggestions, and continually educating herself along the way. Every interaction with community members reinforced her determination, and she had mentored a team of volunteers who shared her mission. Each member brought unique perspectives that enriched the program and prompted innovative ideas beyond her original scope. This wasn't just her project. It had blossomed into a collaborative community endeavor. Looking down at the children playing in the courtyard, Emma's heart swelled with both pride and gratitude. She had not only achieved her dream of fostering a place for animals and youth to connect, but she had inspired others to envision their own roles in making a difference. With unwavering resolve, she demonstrated that personal ambitions could align with broader community goals. Turning away from the bustling scene, Emma reflected on the evolution she had undergone. Initially, she had been bogged down by doubts regarding her capabilities, fearing she might not belong in circles filled with seasoned professionals. Now, she confidently navigated her role among them, utilizing the knowledge she had gained and the network she had built. She had cultivated a reputation that signified both competence and compassion, standing firmly in the intersection of her passions for animals and community. As the day drew to a close, she sent a quick text to Jack's mother. They were able to arrange a special visit, allowing Jack and his friends to join the interactive workshop later that week. The thought filled Emma with joy. She envisioned Jack stepping into a space where he could engage not just with animals, but with peers who understood the intricate dance of emotions that came with growing up in diverse circumstances. Emma had conquered her initial fears of stepping into a privileged world that often felt distant from her own. Instead, she had built bridges. The growth she experienced transformed her understanding of success. It was no longer about accolades or recognition alone, but rather about nurturing connections that fostered healing and empowerment for all involved. With a sense of solid confidence, Emma took a deep breath, feeling the air rich with promise. Today, she embodied her transformation, resilient, committed, and grounded. Emma realized that she had emerged not only as an advocate for children and animals, but as a leader who had reshaped her dreams into a living reality. The future held potential, and she was ready to seize it. Each blistered step on her journey had led her to this moment of achievement and fulfillment. Emma smiled knowingly. She had finally found her place. Now was the time for everyone reading this story to take action and join this journey of transformation. You need to subscribe now for more exclusive emotional stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more people yearning for change. Don't wait even one more second. Drop a comment with your thoughts and theories about Emma's journey and share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Together, let's continue making an impact.